Hi everyone, today is July 15th. Let's start at maybe little lower time frame, 4 hours. Hmm. And focus on BTC's local consolidation. So this was very annoying yesterday, disappointing and annoying. There was no threat as such. I mean, it was so fast as well. But I realized when it was somewhere here that the way it was reject, I realized that, let me put everybody on mute. I realized that something is wrong because, and still we don't know the reason. I mean, sometimes I try to find out the reason retrospectively that, okay, I see weakness, but I don't know why. Um, and later on, usually I find out from someone or by reading that, okay, this is what happened. Chart is always ahead in time, in my experience, when we observe carefully. As I always say, because simple reason is influential people act first before general public get to know. Information gets leaked out no matter what. Even in the stocks, there is always insider trading. Whether they are, I mean, they are at fault only when they are caught. Otherwise, there's always some information, and if not large extent, there are always some. So even if there is no, it basically chart indicates. That's what my observation and experience says. Now, in this case, this drop is not so good. When I say that, means there was no technical reason, because this should have gone up actually and broken above. And this retracement, though I would say it hasn't broken the consolidation, there is nothing to worry for sure. But this leg down is bad looking. When I say bad looking, means it's unwanted, unwarranted, and it erased last few days of gain because of this. Very aggressive. Drop is very aggressive. And there is no known reason. That's, I think, bothering me. Because from a macro point of view, the DXY was not like going up. Um, and DXY, in fact, there are two aspects that I didn't like about BTC's price action. One is when DXY started going down, it didn't react on a positive, in a positive way. Now, I know that there is no direct, I mean, they have inverse proportional relationship, but it's not everyday basis. We know that, and I have mentioned that. But why it was important is because DXY broken below the key support, and that support was no ordinary support. It was a mega support, like major support, and that was broken. And then still BTC didn't react to it. BTC reacted a little bit or gained only on XRP related news, which was weird. And also that day, all other coins bumped. BTC was okay. I mean, comparatively speaking. So it moved up for sure, but not in a big way. So for last 3-4 days before this drop, BTC's behavior was not something usual. It should have gone up, like pumped really hard and gone for 33K, 30, excuse me, 33K, 34K range, in my opinion. Because there was no known adverse factor, at least in my analysis, even from fundamental point of view. So that something is mysterious. I would ask everyone, if you get to, if you know something, then once this session is over, can go through that, right? But at this moment, I could not find anything that why this drop happened. Anyways, technically speaking, this depth is not something that we should worry. Only if it starts going down from here and touches this 29,500, then it's a point of concern. From a local setup point of view, and also from a momentum point of view, because it doesn't make sense to retrace from here. If it is going to retrace, it's not going to kill the trend. So there are two aspects that we need to understand, that after such consolidation and after such move, the momentum, and especially when we see CPI report and other macro factors, they are on positive side or favorable side, I would say, then there is no known reason why this should happen. Even that security related matter is also not a concern now. That was a big deal, at least from XRP's case, right? So there can be something new, we don't know, but at least so there is no known adverse reason, bad reason. So I don't know why this happened, as I mentioned. So if it goes down and touches, still we know that it could come, but breaking below this, I would like to call out as a not bad news. It would not break the trend for sure. We'll look into the chart, and I'll highlight what is the critical level from a trend level. Okay, but personally, it will disappoint me if that happens. It is not happening, but it's a scenario because we meet every week. So I had to talk about all the scenarios. You never know if that happens. Like who knew about this one? So it is always good to know about the scenario, right? So I would just simply say that if this breaks below this one, then it will be bad news. At this moment, there's no need to assume so. And in general, we are not supposed to assume anything. Like we are not supposed to assume breakout on the upside or downside, right? We had to see that happening and then only execute our plan. Our plan should be based on key levels. That's a usual practice. So this 31,500, it tried to break above, but not quite able to this time. There are multiple attempts, we know, but at the same time, this is not a concern at this moment. Let's zoom out and go for one day and try to understand. So this is this is trading range, we call in technical analysis. This is trading range. So this is heaven actually for intraday traders, to be honest, because they know the upper bound, they know the lower bound. So they would sell here or short here. And when it stops here, they'll book profit. And similarly, they would reverse the case. I mean, reverse the position and say going long. This is what they do. Touches here, they would buy. Touches here, they would sell or go short. So this is heaven for intraday traders. Those who are smart and experienced would not trade altcoin, to be honest. They'll just trade because this is usually you see ascending or descending, like what you see, like sometimes like you see the this particular segment is very similar. This is difficult to trade intraday. This is because you see the range is different. This is lower range and this is lower low. I mean high, lower high and lower low. So this is very difficult to trade for intraday traders, because the moment they understand the trend, it's too late. Here, it actually gave a lot of opportunities if you look at the lower time frame. So, of course, this is, they would not know, but this is a rejection, let's say. So, first time they would not know. Once from here, they get at least three opportunities. So, they know that this is support, and so they'll trade here. They know this is resistance, so they'll exit here. And then they see bounce, so they'll flip it. This was tricky, but they would not stop it out. They would have, it was very close. And yeah, here they will flip it again. And again, they'll flip it because it's consolidating at a lower side. and they have enough time to do so. So the point is, this is heaven for intraday traders, and they would simply, and in fact for leverage traders as well. So those who are experienced would not trade leverage. I mean, I'm not trying to give any advice, but people understand, people very, I mean, those who experience would know that if you really love to do leverage trading, BTC is the coin. Altcoin is not for leverage, in my opinion and experience. People leverage altcoin thinking that they move fast, but I think they don't understand that the behavior is not predictable as BTC. And what else? I'll tell you something more probably offline, because this is being recorded, so I don't want to get into a digress from the main theme. Okay, so the point is, this is a range bound moment. That's from technical point of view, and this kind of behavior was observed here as well. Very similar. It's not going to be the same. And interestingly, it was here as well. So in this case, it went down. In this case, it went up. Okay. What is important for a trader? They need to know the ranges. Okay. So this was tricky. Tricky because this was ascending from right beginning. This was tricky. This was not so tricky because this is more or less horizontal. If you look at this was tricky. But this is yeah, this is okay. This is more. This is the best one. This is second best one, and this is very difficult because of those spikes, higher levels. Right. So we have two scenarios. So now, when it is in the channel, again, it's sometimes people say, what is the probability of breaking down and up? I would say this kind of consolidation is continuation pattern, but sometimes the pattern could be larger. So I'll explain you what I mean. So when you look at the leg up, when you look at this one, from this point of view, this is breakdown from this particular pattern point of view. If you are tracking this broadening pattern like this, loudspeaker pattern, this is broken. So one would say this is continuous pattern, so why it broke down? What they miss is they miss the point. They think that this pattern is ended here. No, in this case it goes down, but this depth is not deep enough where we can say this pattern is broken, because one has to analyze from the starting of the leg. So this pattern is being built, was being built on this particular leg up. Okay, so this much of correction, it doesn't qualify for invalidating pattern. Simply means that this particular pattern is invalidated, but consolidation pattern as a whole is not invalidated. In that case, trader or TA has to do something like this, and then they see a upside move, then they have to see like this. This is how the things change, and in worst case it extended all the way here, because this was the boundary line actually. So my point is, I just wanted to cover a little bit of TA because there are some individuals who love to learn some TA, and I try to share something each time whenever possible and whatever comes in my mind spontaneously. So if you're a TA, this is how you start, but then you have to be dynamic and then change the pattern. So the broadening pattern, interestingly speaking, the broadening pattern started with this, and I would say it was ascending channel to begin with, let's say, and then it broke down and it became broadening pattern. I think that's what I would say, like this. So one has to be dynamic enough and change their patterns. I mean tracker. Yeah. So they have to identify new pattern when the when there is uh, major change. So similarly, like this one, if you're tracking this one, this was broadening from the beginning. Um, if you're tracking the highs, and then it got extended in a big way. But let's say this one, like this one, initially like this, right? Um, Interestingly speaking, then breakout like this, then it touched and went down. So you then extend and then you get this. Hmm? Then it didn't go all the way, but it made, so it extended basically. So, but then when you extend, this pattern is gone, because it is too long. Then what you have to do is then you have to figure out, oh yeah, the broadening pattern actually become turn into wedge. So these are wedges. And if we extend like this, these are wedges. Okay, the angle is not steep. This is a little tricky, but still I think it qualifies. Usually the angle is like this, sharp ones. So I hope you learn something. You might be aware of this, but sometimes not everybody, I assume. So for them, probably they have learned something today. Right. So talking about this now, coming back to our local pattern. Now, when I'm tracking this particular, but we don't know. So the pattern can expand like what I explained. So that's one of the reasons, besides teaching or sharing how the patterns develop. um, it's very interesting that we are tracking this one right now, a rectangle pattern, which is a continuous pattern by nature. It means if the trend is up like this, then it should go up as well, right? But if it changes, then T has to think differently. Yeah. Okay. Now, because I have explained, I'll give you the clue, and now you have to decipher that, um, like homework or your own research, that I had added this white line, I think a couple of weeks ago. So why I had added this one, and using this one, what you will get next if it doesn't break up, okay, is something for you to research. And whatever I have explained using past or the prior ones is is has the clue. Okay, so if you understood that, you will understand how to change the pattern and expand it. Okay, and come up with the answer. So if you get the answer, post on Discord, like, and maybe tag me. Yeah. Anyway, this is just for fun. Right? Okay. So coming back to my analysis, I would say, so I'm basically I'm tracking upper bound and a lower bound, to be honest. Very simple thing. Um, and if you zoom out like this, you will see that at this level, it's not a point of concern from any angle. But yeah, breaking below this is would be a bad news, right? So we have to see if that happens. It's not happening. So at this moment, we'll just leave it at this stage. If I hide all, how does it look? Yeah, I would say this progress it's not easy for people, um, because there is no clear cut uptrend. If you observe the movement, if I go to weekly now, and you see this that's a trend started or recovery started from here, right? The uptrend hasn't started. I'll keep on reminding everyone. Okay? Uptrend hasn't started. Like like when it, I had mentioned in past, but again, when it dropped this much, which was over 50%, yeah, and this was almost 100% move, in fact, more than 100, you see, 28,000 to 67, 68, over 100% move, right? And this one, 15K to 31. So this is also a little over 100%. So the point is, when it dropped 50%, it didn't start downtrend. It doesn't start like that. Similarly, um, this particular move, I never call uptrend. Like if you look at social media, they are talking about, especially after this move, and more and more people are now talking about uptrend. If I had a I had polling as well, and the poll indicates that 70% of the people think that we're moving towards all-time high. And they're not wrong in a way, because there is no bad news here. So naturally, but this is how mind changes. But when when it was here, they're talking about 10K, 12K. When it was here, they were in denial mode. When this actually pump happened, they were enthusiastic. I mean, they were confused in a way that what is really happening. It was supposed to break down because this was very, very close to break down. So they were in shock because this move was so rapid that it took time for them to come out from shock. We had the support and we called out. That's a different thing. I'm talking about general people, general public. So when this was very sharp move, this was again a counter move, which was surprising for many. So if you think from a trader's point of view, even from investor point of view, they have no idea what is happening. And right after this, when they say, "Oh wow, we survived," now it is looking amazing, and they get into this kind of a mm, consolidation, very boring one, not just consolidation but lost in value, like this one. And then they'll say, oh my, this is like half of the value is gone, so again it is going down. So again they are very much pessimistic here. Hmm. And technically speaking, this was also very important level, to be honest. So the point is, there are many occasions, this one, this one, this one, and this one, where people were not sure, especially. So they were sure, they are sure now after this move that, okay, now this is really going up. But probably yesterday's move also made them probably scared. So, and this is how the BTC is playing with everyone, emotion in a way. Yeah. And the reason why we always track BTC on a weekly call and understand trend for the same reason. Do we understand the big picture? What is really happening on a from a recovery point of view? Because so coming back to my early point, um, people would change mind and now they are more on the upside. And I would say the attempt is on the upside. I'm very careful when I choose my words. This is an attempt. This is a recovery attempt. Okay. Um, this is a downtrend. Okay. Sometime so one leg down. In worst case, this is a dead cat bounce range, by the way. Okay, it's not high because it's not high enough. That's why this phase is called recovery attempt. I mean, there is no formal term for this one. The formal term is dead cat bounce, but usually the dead cat bounce is retrospectively identified. So if this goes down, then they'll say this was dead cat bounce. So what I have done, so there's no formal definition that I see. I'm calling this as a recovery attempt, okay, or recovery trend. You will not find in the book because I haven't found so far. But if you find, then let me know. So this is still in a downtrend, okay, and in between, you will see even in the downtrend, you had this dead cat bounce. This because this was not high enough. This was also dead cat bounce because this was not high enough, right? But this is so from this particular leg. So there are, this is first leg, this is second leg, this is third leg. Okay, from this bounce with respect to this leg was not high enough. This bounce with respect to this leg was not high enough, right? Okay. And this bounce was definitely, this tiny one was not high enough with respect to this one, but this one was high enough for this leg. So technically, what happens is you have to then see, okay, now this is, so this is taken care. So this failed once, failed twice, failed thrice here, but this one made up. But this victory is with respect to this. It's this victory so far is not with respect to this. So this is another TA thing that you will take away today, that how to analyze it. Okay. So that's why I would not call this dead cat bounce. I'm not qualified by any reason because it hasn't retraced yet. Remember, so I'm not calling that. What I'm saying is the height is not enough. Okay, with respect to this particular downside. So that's why our yellow line is not removed. At the same time, I'm saying this is the direction because there's no there's no the support is intact. So I'm sure you are mature now, experienced now on this platform, so you understand what I mean. But feel free to ask me a question if this is not understood. In summary, if this is the first leg down, this is a counter trend, okay? And the counter trend, I'm calling recovery trend with respect to the bear trend, right? So this is downtrend, this is a counter trend to the downtrend, is one way to explain. This is bear cycle. Within bear cycle, there's a recovery attempt. Okay, this is how it is. Now, the probability of breakout is high. So we would like to see this to happen, right? And then we'll call out that now this particular bear trend is over and new uptrend began. For example, if you look at this one, when there were two legs for this particular bull run, okay, this is the first leg and this was the second leg. Okay, this was because of COVID, otherwise this would not have happened, but still this was a valid counter trend. Okay, so in the uptrend there are counter trend, and then in downtrend there are counter trend. Counter trend means for some time the trend goes in a opposite direction. So when you look at this uptrend, why I'm saying uptrend, because it had, here we cannot say uptrend, okay, but when it reaches to this one, it is uptrend. So this is where it gets confirmation. It's somewhere here around 7,000, and then it touches 12K. But after reaching this, you can say this is a first leg, but you cannot say how high it will go up. It comes down. What you measure is how deep it goes. This was definitely not deep enough, but this was COVID related. But this was so quick on a weekly basis, like it closed, the week closed here. So again, we can say it survived in a way, because low is not considered from a trend measurement point of view. This is the closing is considered. So when you track this one, we can say this was not deep enough with respect to this low. So yeah, but it's not easy because you have to wait for a week to close, and it's very tricky because what if during the week it continues to go down, because you never know it is going to stop here, right? So it's very tricky. What if it would have gone down all the way? So so that's the thing. But what, you cannot do anything about it. If you have to go by definition, so you have to wait for week to close if you're tracking on weekly. So my point is, there's always a counter trend. Okay, so when this counter trend got over, there was another leg up. So in this bull run, there were only two legs, first one and second, with one counter. In this downtrend, I hope I'm digressing, I know, but since I'm talking about little TA, I'm just expanding my thoughts with some past examples. So I hope you find interesting. So if this was the best bull run, I mean, this is a dream bull run, I call. Why? Because first of all, this is a low. So this is a like bottom formation. Nobody would figure out here, I would say. Very hard to figure out. Very few could figure out. But here there was definitely confirmation somewhere here. And this was not bad at all from any angle. This wasn't bad. Anyway, so it progressed. If you look at this one, all the retracement that you see were teeny tiny. Well, with respect to the overall trend, there was no major counter trend like this one. You see, this is a major counter trend. There was no COVID stuff here. It was pure a major counter trend with respect to the first leg up. With respect to this one, all these were teeny tiny. So this bull run is a dream run. Was a dream run. I have never seen anything like this. I mean, I have seen in stocks, but this was awesome. So this is perfect. I'm not considering the prior one because there were no, I mean, very few people participating. I'm considering this has a more importance because there were more participants comparatively. So that's why, because this was after Mount Gox and all. Before that, there were very few people trading. So I don't count prior 2 cycles in Bitcoin because there are like handful of people pumping coin, like any, small cap altcoin. But here, this was a big deal because the participation went up really. And anyway, so all this correction were teeny tiny. And if you look at this was the first drop, then consolidation and a second low. So here there was no major bounce. This was the first leg down and then consolidation and then form descending triangle. Today I'm spending time in TA. That's my mood today for today. So you see, this was descending triangle. In fact, we can extend further. Yeah, this was textbook. This was textbook. Perfect. I mean, and break down from 80%, 90%. So perfect. Yeah. So easy to trade. Unluckily, like I mean, I anyway, I don't want to share my personal stuff here. Maybe some other time, not on recording. Anyway, so this was a leg down. Then this is consolidation. Remember, consolidation happened in different ways. Sometimes wedges, sometimes channels, sometimes triangles, symmetrical triangle, ascending triangle, descending triangle, whatever. Various structures. Here there was descending triangle, and then another leg down. You see, so this was a bad trend. But when first leg doesn't tell you about the bad trend, right? But this one was confirmation when it broke down that this is really a bad trend, because this could have gone up from here, but it didn't. So really bad trend was not actually identified until here. Yeah, you will say so much of a drop, but yeah, this is how it works. You can say more probability because the way it was shaping up, sorry, within a descending triangle, because this is descending triangles are bearish in nature. So, but this drop, because closed here, no way you can figure it out that this is really a beginning of the downtrend. One may say that, okay, this is the first major drop after so many tiny drops, but no way one can figure out over here. Okay, but yeah, once it builds this one, somewhere here, experienced trader would know, or TA would know, that this is something wrong somewhere. And anyway, so it touches here, touches here, and then start this one. So in this case, this was teeny tiny, but this was a big one. Forget about this because this is temporary shock, right? This is not when some major event happens, it disrupts the flow, right? For an example, let's say river has direction. So if you throw a big log of wood or in the stream, it could impact the stream. I mean the flow. Sometimes if it is big enough, probably it would you could stop it as well. But if it is temporary in nature, once it is removed, then the stream continues. So this the stream this that's how the stream is nothing. Trend is also stream, right? So this is temporary kind of event. And anyway, then it resumed, like this, an amazing move. So of course this was amazing, but the prior bull run was top class because this was short in an actually nature wise, I mean time wise, also very short. The prior one was 2 years, more than 2 years. Anyways, so in a percentage point of view, this was also not very much from percentage gain point of view, but that's how it is. Each cycle now is slowing down, which I mentioned in prior sessions. That's how it is happening with Bitcoin. So you see now what I mean is when it dropped here, nobody could say this is a bear cycle. It went up and then here, yeah. And so the red arrow is indicating the bear cycle. Okay. And now we are expecting, last time we had added this green arrow, at this angle, with zigzag, another leg, the fifth cycle may start. Right? But we don't have confirmation yet. All the drawings that I have has a reason, and I have explained in past why. Right? So if you are watching my video, you haven't missed anything, because I have covered in past so many things, and some of the things I'm repeating for sure. You have to understand Bitcoin's strength. By the way, you can play around with coins, yeah, but unless you understand what I'm going through, you would not understand what is happening. The big picture must be understood. Then some dances here and there, then you will understand and able to tackle, because maturity comes from understanding big picture. When the elderly people, the difference is the maturity comes with, because they have seen childhood, young age, maybe marriages, breakups, children, their job, and other challenges from so they have seen and experienced. The old people may be irrelevant from the new age, but not irrelevant from their experience point of view. And when any adverse event they are able to cope up well, despite of whether it's a modern age or or whether they are with the modern age or not, because the events are for them, they have seen all. So like that, if understanding big picture is like gaining wisdom, right? And rest of the thing is very small. So yesterday's drop you can manage without any pressure, only if you understand the big picture. And that's why I'm spending time. This is about, see, this understanding that's the difference between inexperienced trader and a mature trader. Nothing more. Those who understand big picture are mature trader. Other are like kindergarten or school kids. Anyways, so this is a weekly setup, as you see. So definitely struggling. Look at that, it's struggling here. Right? Struggling doesn't mean it is rejected or failed. Struggling means struggling. Simple. It's being, the resistance is giving tough time. Simple. However, if and when it comes down to this level, from a big picture point of view, that's a problem, a big problem, but not necessarily until it breaks below the support. So not financial advice, but one cannot just wait for this one. Remember, the RAM, there has to be a ramp down plan. As I talk about ramp up plan, there has to be ramp down plan. And the key supports between like ladders, as I always say, right? You, if you want to get down from second floor to first floor, you don't jump. You don't want to jump. You can, but you don't want to. Similarly, the risk management is always incremental. Right? Certain things I'm repeating, but it's so important. People forget sometimes that one would say this is fine, and sometimes they keep holding. They don't understand that there's each step on the downside is moving towards the lower flow, and again, it's if this is, let's say, second floor, this is first floor, and this is ground floor, and this is like hell below this one. So one has to decide that, okay, where is where my money, where my principal amount, or what is my risk tolerance, and so on. So the point is, incremental approach is the way to go, and everybody would have different levels. But knowing the levels are important. What you do on that level is up to you. Yesterday there was a question that I said BTC drop, and other will also drop if the BTC is going to drop. So the question was, now, does it mean do I have to sell? I mean, it's up to you in a way, right? So if you are attracted to someone, I can see that you are in love affair, but I cannot tell whether you should marry or not. It's your business, right? So point is, I'm interpreting what is happening. I cannot tell you what to do. So my job is to tell you what is happening, and give scenarios with condition that if this level is broken, then the next level is this. If this resistance is broken, then the next resistance is this. So those who are smart understand what I mean. They need not have to be spoon feed. I mean, because that's not a service, right? That's not a service. I'm sticking to my TA. I'm not in advising. So one has to understand what is expected here. But you don't. I mean, as I said, those who are smart would understand what I mean. Right? So, and you can always ask about key supports if there is confusion. Anyway, so this is resistance, but if it starts going down, there is one pattern which we don't need to talk about because it's not here. If it comes down to that stage, we'll see. At this moment, we are still looking for breakout. So maybe little bit of delay like this one, right? Little bit of delay, but that doesn't change this one. So this is a probable. So maybe I should make a solid line. Solid line, just to differentiate. And this line, I'm not going to remove it because it hasn't broken down. So if it comes down and then this becomes a solid line, and then this gets out, then this will be removed. Then that has to be it has to be like that. In that case, the downtrend continues. But not to assume anything because it's not happening. So I think that's it from Bitcoin point of view. I share a lot of insight from technical analysis point of view, explaining different consolidation pattern, explaining trends, key levels. Yeah, if anything is not clear, feel free to ask. Let's look at DXY, dollar index, right? So this is good news, right? The not just daily close, but a weekly also closed below because the week ended for the forex. So we closed below the support. Amazing. So what does it mean? So weekly support is gone. Okay. The last one is always monthly. The monthly channel is this ascending channel, and all the cycles are in these are cycles, but this is so weak, very weak. Look at the monthly, looks bad, really bad. This is quite deep. However, the monthly support is actually up to 98 or something. I have to figure it out, but I think it's approximately 98 monthly support. Weekly support is broken. Yeah. So in simple words, unless and until it breaks above this support on the upside, yeah, there is no concern from the XY at least. And it is going to try. It is going to try, because that's how it is. You can, in fact, daily you can say this, it attempted. So typically what happens when the breakdown happens, another thing, by the way, there is one term that is used totally incorrectly, okay, which is pullback. There are two terms in technical analysis, pullback and throwback. People use pullback when there is throwback, and people actually that's not pullback. So for example, let me show you. Let me find out. I'm trying to find out the pullback. I found it. So let's say this is my trend line. This is my trend line. You see, this is drawing. So this is attempt failed, went down. Attempt, you see the failed. You see spike, and then came down, and then break above. Now this is called throwback. So this is breakout. This is breakout. Yeah. But people call this as pullback. This is not pullback. This is called throwback. Okay. I'm not going to change tell everyone, but I don't know why. The textbook, this is not textbook definition. This is called throwback. So it throws back, and then because the meaning is totally different, I'll tell you why. So this is throwback, but people call pullback incorrectly. I'll tell you. So when it breaks down, this is a support, right? In that case, the trend line was the resistance. Remember, here the horizontal line is a support. So in this case, support, and this is broken. So this is breakdown. And when it comes up, this is called pullback. This is called pullback. And usually what happens is the pullback happens in 60% of the cases statistically, and then goes down like this. Okay. But when it comes down, the traders get into alert position or alert state, because they cannot assume this. This is a decision point. Okay, this is a decision, because sometimes this kind of pullback, and if it re-enters, then we call false breakdown. Okay, this is called false breakdown if this continues on the upside. So the false breakdown is not known here. It is known only when the pullback happens and when it closes inside again. Then only retrospectively we say, oh, that was false breakdown. That's how it is. Okay. So what you're learning here is you have to, yes, accept this is breakdown, but you have to also accept that there is likely to be a pullback. And then when pullback happens, then the pressure comes back if there is a relationship to other asset. And during that time, You have to wait and watch until what it does here. If, but again, it's not a direct relationship day by day, remember, but I'm just saying hypothetically, if something is inversely related or directly related day by day, then and let's say BTC, hypothetically, again, I'm saying hypothetically, on this move, if BTC goes down, and let's say this continues to move up, BTC continues to go down, then the decision point is when this one decides whether to go down or whether to continue up, in a hypothetical case. But we're calling this as a reference data, very important data. So this bounce could be one of the only logical reasons is this bounce, that DXY bounced and BTC went down on Friday. There's no other reason I see. But BTC drop was very aggressive. I don't know why. Okay. But yeah, so this is very normal. If you think that is coming up, the pullback is very normal in 60-65% of the cases, maybe more. Yeah. Okay. So TA is a vast subject, my friends. I mean, there's always some learning. There's always something. Keep enhancing your knowledge. I'm trying my best to share. Probably I'm sharing much more than this platform could offer beyond all the TA, I think, because sharing TA is something add-on. It is not part of the scope. Whatever I said in this one is not, I'm not charging at all. This is like free stuff. Sometimes I feel that only those who attend live call should get this, because they are doing something better than other. So they should get some extras. So, but sometimes what happens is it's intertwined, but maybe I'll try to remember this. So only those who attend will get something extra. Otherwise, they'll get only TA, not how TA to be done, or what, or TA explanation of TA, because that's add-on thing. Anyway, so so we see something. Yeah. Interestingly speaking, breakout is also not always break at the term definition point of view. Breakout, when it says someone breakout, means there are two breakout on, they have to say full term. Actually, the breakout is not the full term. The full term is upward breakout, downward breakout, because the breakout is a generic term. It is used for both down and up. So this is another thing. People always talk about breakout means upside breakout. That is assumed one. But if you go by the definition, the breakout means it could be up or down. Okay, you have to explicitly say breakout on the downside, or you can say breakdown, but you cannot say just breakout, because it has two meanings. If you go by definition, either you say upward breakout, downward breakout, like that. Anyway, so that's more theory. Okay. But yeah, there's practical example, not just theory, but here practical examples. What else? Yeah, so DXY is good enough. So this is clear. Let's look at the yields. Look at that. Green rejected. Yeah, green rejected. Green rejected. It didn't break down. Maybe I should. Yeah, like, but it went all the way. So we can say it could go down like this or from here. I think this is a major point. I don't, so it was here because sometimes it went down like this arrow. Now I can remove, but it went up. But if it starts going down, I don't have to put it here. My confidence says then it has to go down. I would say this one, this much. I would draw one line somewhere here. Support line, interim support. structural. So if it if it breaks below the white line, this one, then it goes and makes new low. Then the yields are over. Then the bond market will pump. And of course, I think on 27th, the FOMC meeting will come to know July, the rate hike. But yeah, this is a good sign. I've checked it here. This is because of CPI numbers. Yeah, but it has to go down further. This depth is not deep enough for this structure is still intact. This consolidation is still intact. It has to go below this for it to break down, in my opinion. Maybe ideally this level. Yeah. So we'll keep this and see what happens in next week or so. So what you see is DXY broke down, but we have to see if it is really break down, because it has to break down for, I mean, continue to go down, not just this one. The bounce that we saw on the last day of the week, this must not go go up and re-enter. So that has to be tracked, I would say. And so this has to continue go down 90 below 98, I would say. Mutual M swing. The M swing monthly is on this support, so this is broken, but monthly support is not broken. So 96, yeah, 96.8 is the M swing. And M swing weekly is already red. There were two attempts, as you could see. There were two attempts and then broke down. Right. So it's still in the downtrend. If you look at this one. So this should, so the lower range supported here, an attempt to potential up signal, but not confirmation, no confirmation. And this was brilliant uptrend. Look at it. The uptrend started here, downtrend. So this is still downtrend. So I love this. So such a clean depiction from M swing. Absolutely no confusion whatsoever. M swing is part of an M club feature. Okay, so this DXY. What else? Dominance. Let's look at dominance. So this was perfect. Yeah, the resistance, it couldn't break above. There was an attempt, but not quite close above on a weekly. So this was perfect. That's why all coins rallied here. In fact, because all coin rallied, it went down. You can say that. Point is, we added this one long before. Yeah. So we were 3 weeks in advance actually. 3 weeks. So if this goes down because alt make progress, then we can say the alt season, so-called alt season begins. So this is a potential beginning. If it breaks below this, then confirmation. And in that case, it could continue to go down further. Then that means the alt season, so-called. I don't like that term, but people love it. So I don't mind using it. Why? Because when you say alt, we talk about all 7,000 plus coins. And in reality, not all 7,000 plus coins go up. So it's not for all, only for some. Because not all the coins outperform BTC. That's why. That's why I don't like alt season, because people assume that no matter what you buy, it's going to go up. Because if I say alt season began, People think, oh, let me buy any XYZ coin, it will go up. No, answer is no. You have to see which one is outperforming BTC. Not everyone is going to, only few of them. So all season is only for those who beat BTC, in other words. Okay, dokie. So I hope this is good enough. We covered so many things on this part 1 series. We'll end this part 1 here and begin with part 2 with 15 altcoins.